All right, welcome Alta Realty Group agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here. And today we're going to go through Google Ads, what was formerly known as Google AdWords, and cost per click and all those other terms. So it's going to be a good tutorial. This, just like Facebook ads, is a massive undertaking. It can become its own science. So of course today in a half an hour we're just going to be doing an overview of how it works. So before we get too far into our presentation here, I want to bring on Bill Seitz. Good morning, Bill. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Drinking my caffeine.
Good boy. Me too. I got my coffee going. I'm all fired up.
Yeah, needed it this morning for some reason more than other days, but I guess that's just the way it goes, right?
That must be indicative of your Tuesday.
Yeah. Yesterday was a tough Monday. I don't know why, but we're going at it.
Good boy.
Yeah, I don't have like a ton to announce today on the mortgage side. I just was looking at Market Watch this morning and just kind of taking a look at the stock market and looking at other financials, and it's pretty impressive that the Dow cracked 27,000 this morning, and from where we've come back, we were down at 18.6, 18.5 at the height of this kind of market drop and panic and unknown. And it seems to be settling in that people are being able to function despite we got some new hurdles with our governor.
Yes.
But I think people are finding ways to function in this kind of new reality for the moment.
Yeah.
But it's encouraging to see that the economy and the stock market is really confident that this is, that things are going to get better. So
yeah,
we got to vote on the optimism,
Exactly. I like to see that. And then also, just the housing numbers in general are looking good. Inventory, of course, is low, but sales are there. Things are looking good.
Yeah, I do have an anecdote on that. A friend of mine, I used to sell a lot of real estate, and I normally don't partake in that because I'm just so busy with other things in finance. But a friend had asked me to help them with a property, personal friend up in Seal Beach area, and I had got it on the market for them, and it was listed last weekend. I kid you not, I probably had over 100 people calling me, texting me over the weekend. It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it.
Wow.
So to say that the market is hot is like an understatement. And I know it's frustrating for a lot of the agents when you have buyers and there's limited inventory. There's probably nothing more frustrating than having a buyer that's ready to buy, qualified, ready to go, and that you can't get them into contract. You're writing multiple offers, you're losing them, you're writing more offers, you're going above asking price, you're basically trying to wine and dine the listing agents. not literally, but you're trying to
I know,
schmooze them that you're the best client. And it was unbelievable to see that activity, and I just know that's going on a lot, and I feel for all the agents that are going through this right now, because it's not a fun process.
No, I believe they call that a seller's market.
Yeah, and I think Travis had mentioned this a few weeks back, but listen, we're kind of in our spring. We never really had the spring buying season, so everything got shifted deeper later into to summer, which we're at now, which normally settles down a little bit, but we never had that spring push because of all the the COVID stuff and everything kind of getting just the way we do business these days had to be ironed out. And we're seeing a lot of pent up demand, and I think we're still seeing inventory being relatively low, considering there's still people that are scared to have people going through their homes and maybe just delayed or don't even want to put their house on the market. So there is limited demand. I mean, limited inventory, which is creating even more demand and record low mortgage rates. So it's crazy out there, I have to say. So I feel for anybody who's going through that.
For sure. And Travis, good morning, Travis. Travis is, of course, our corporate broker. How are you this morning?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing fantastic. All
Hey, so
fired up.
yeah, real quick, Bill. So did you end up accepting an offer, or what do you got going on?
Yeah, we did. And I will say this, sometimes not always the highest price is the best offer. And you know, they ended up taking an offer from a family who grew up in the same neighborhood, and they're a young couple, no kids yet. They want to raise their family there, but they ended up writing a really nice letter directly to the seller that I obviously passed along and presented to them, and it was a very nice touch. And one thing I do recommend, and I had kind of learned this along the way as well, whenever I was presenting an offer, if I had some sort of story or sort of background information about the client, I would encourage them, either I would write it on their behalf or they would, write something. It does make a difference. It does. I mean, sellers will sometimes forego $5,000, $10,000 to go with somebody they know is going to really enjoy their home, or there's that emotional connection, emotional aspect. So that really helped in this situation. I know it's not going to be every situation that'll work, but I think sometimes making that extra effort goes a long way.
Phil,
Yeah.
I think about, what was it, about maybe 6 or 8 months ago, we did a great webinar dedicated to that, writing those purchase offers in, a cover letter, right? And I think that was a really good one. So that would be a good one for any of you new agents that are just joining us to go back to our YouTube channel and go search for that, because that was a great webinar.
I was gonna say, or yeah, if you want to, that's some of the most frequent calls I have right now. Is I have these buyers and we're having a really hard time getting an offer accepted. Do you have any suggestions? So I know I've talked to quite a few agents, and it seems like they're finally getting some of their offers accepted now, and that's one of the things that I usually suggest is the buyer love letter. Will work in a lot of instances, but really just listening to what the seller, what their scenario is and what their needs are, and trying to cater to that if possible. Sometimes that is the edge. It just won me an offer too, and it was multiple offers, and we did not have the best financing, I'll tell you that. But they loved the buyer story, and they ended up going with our offer.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe next week, Kevin, I can just share the one that that my clients put together next week, and just put it up there, spend a few minutes on it, just reading it and just showing them what the format was and how they put it together. It was pretty good.
That'd be great. Yeah, please do bring that next week. That'd be great. All right, good. Well, thanks, guys. I always enjoy those anecdotes, and it just, I know it helps the agents, when they have those kinds of situations. So without further ado, we are going to shift gears into our Google Ads for Real Estate webinar. So this is, if you've never been there, if you've never gone and done Google Ads, you would start here. And of course, I'll include this link in our replay. So before we get into the actual ads, let's just take a look. This is a pretty cool little graphic that I found. So this is a cool little thing. Everything, real estate agents need to know about Google Ads. So there's some cool stats. So 42% of recent buyers, their first step that they took was they looked at the online properties for sale. And so we pound this into you guys. We know that the buyers are finding their properties online first. And this is honestly, this is probably a national average here. And I believe in California, and especially in Southern California and Northern California, this is probably higher. We know tons of people are finding them. Online websites are seen as the most useful information source by 88% of recent buyers, of course. And we want them to be using our websites. We want them to be going to our agent marketing sites, searching the MLS on our sites. Buyers typically search 10 weeks and looked at a median of 10 properties before finding a home to buy. And they're doing that generally on their own. Once they find that that property, then they contact you, right? Or, you know, but they're always searching online. So Google search click-through rate. Now this is the click-through is just, you know, they clicked through to your ad. They did a search for some particular term and they did a click-through. 3.71 is the click-through rate, which is pretty darn good. So the average cost for a click, remember, on Google Ads, we're bidding and we're spending money every time they click on our ad. And that can get expensive. But per click for real estate, the average is $2.37. Certain areas it's going to be way more, certain areas it's going to be way less, but that's a good average. And a lot of these other stats are pretty important as well. The real estate industry average cost per action for Google Ads is roughly $116 per action. Now, an action is they went to your ad, they called you, or they went to your ad and they filled out your contact form, or they completed some kind of an action. So if somebody clicks to your site, that doesn't mean anything. If they took action and they called you or they contacted you, that is what we call a completed action. So of course, your click-through rate is going to be very low, or your click-through cost is going to be very low. Your cost per action will be much higher, right? So the way that we do our Google AdWords is, of course, we create our Google Ad dashboard. And so again, we just go here, click Start Now, and they'll guide you through that process. Now, before you do that, if you haven't set up your Google My Business, or basically your your business listing on Google for real estate, it's a great idea to do that. And so it's a great idea to just create your Google profile as a realtor on Google before you do AdWords. And there's a few different reasons for that. But here's a recent ad campaign that we're doing currently for Joanna. Good morning, Joanna. I see you're with us today. And so you'll see that we've been doing this for, I don't know, I think we started this on the 1st. And so the duration of this ad is a couple weeks, and we've received a total of 119 clicks. Now again, nothing, somebody clicks to our website, great, but they have to actually take an action and call us for there to be any kind of meaningful action. Then we have also received 2,191 impressions. Now impressions just means that the ad was shown. So out of 2,191 times that the ad was shown to a viewer on Google who searched for a particular keyword, and we'll get to the keywords next, 119 of those people clicked through to the site. And so our average cost per click is right now $1.06. Not bad. Remember, we saw our industry average on our graphic was $2.37. So we're well below the average on that particular ad campaign. So the keywords that we're targeting are the following. So these are all different, keywords related to, she happens to be in India, so keywords related to houses for sale in India, homes for sale. And this is really funny because they'll give us a good idea of which of the search or which of the terms that we should use. And one of them is homes for sell, not homes for sale. And it actually gets a ton of different of impressions. So I thought that was interesting.
Is that just a typo, Kevin, that they're just typing fast? Or they don't say sale, they just sell.
Yes.
Instead of sale?
Yes. Houses for sale. Absolutely. So that's kind of interesting, huh, Bill?
100%. No, that makes sense though. I mean, I can see myself doing that if I was just like ripping through it,
Yeah, and even, maybe people that English is their second language, right? And maybe they, oh, houses for sale, and they think that that's the way that it's spelled, you know. So
It's a
kind of
good
interesting.
point.
Yeah. So and Google told us which ones to do. So the way that we always start our ad in our thinking is we go to Google's AdWords keyword planner. And so we just go into the planner, click here, and we start, and we do something like homes for sale. And we could even use, you know, our website. We could even, you know, go ahead and use Joanna's website as a, what they call a filter. So we'll paste that in there and we'll get our results. And so Google will tell us what is being searched and what is, you know, what the bid range is for these search terms, right? So, you know, Zillow homes for sale, people search that, and it's actually a low competition search term. So we may want to add Zillow homes for sale in that particular, in our ad campaign. So, and what do I mean by that? What do I mean by keywords, and what do I mean by bids and all that kind of stuff? Well, let's just go to Google and do a search for Newport. Let's use homes for sale. So when we do that, and Rhonda, I'm sorry if my my audio is going in and out. I apologize. Hopefully this is better. But you'll notice that when you go and you do a search for homes for sale, Newport homes for sale, or Newport Beach homes for sale, these right here, notice that it says ad. This is where our ad that we're creating is going to show up. So, and then down here, this is the first search result that is on that search results page at the top, because of it, organically, it has, you know, the right search engine optimization that brought this, you know, that listing to the top. So the only other way to get to the top of this search results page is by giving Google money. These are the ads, right? So ads show up at the top, and they also show up a lot of times at the bottom or on the next page. Here's ads down here as well. And so these, remember when I was talking about impressions, this is an impression. So I didn't click on the ad, and it's not very nice to click on somebody's ad if you're not interested in their product, because if right when I click on this, they just got charged whatever that bid amount is for that particular term. So I don't want to do that. That's not very nice. Unless I'm interested in their product, then heck yeah, click on that and I'll get what I was looking for. So this is exactly what we're talking about. This is the real estate on Google that we get to, you know, basically get to. And so let's go to our example again. And so if we wanted to create an ad, we would click here. And I know your name is spelled wrong, Joanna, but it's just the ad name. It's all spelled correctly in the actual ad. So if we wanted to create, you know, a new thing, or, you know, a new ad campaign, we would go in, create a new ad group 2. We'd put in our keywords, homes for sale, you know, all the different stuff that we discovered in our keyword tool, right? So we did our search of all of our keywords. Then we go, okay, yeah. And actually, you can just click on these, and they can send them right into that particular account. But we're able to now save and continue. And now we're able to create that ad. Remember, this is the same as this. So now we're constructing what text goes in here. Now this is really, really important. And this is where, you know, the science comes in, and you can, you know, basically, you know, you could base an entire, you know, science practice on Google Ads, and people do. This is a really, really huge thing these days. And so we're able to now decide on what we're going to say here, what we're going to say in here, and this particular ad doesn't have it, but we're able to add extensions below. Now see these guys down here, this is known as extensions. So we're able to add that into our Google Ads as well. And I'll show you that. So first of all, we want to select where are, you know, when somebody clicks on our ad, where are they going to end up? And so for this particular ad, we want them to end up, let's see if I have this. We want them to end up on our community page. Here it is, sorry. So her Indio Homes community page is the page that shows all the listings in Indio. Explore Indio Homes for sale. So we want them to be able to go to this, to land on this website and see all the different particular homes that are for sale in Indio. So we want this URL, this final URL, to be there. So when somebody clicks on our thing, they don't just go to our website, they go to a particular page where they're going to find what they were looking for, because they're looking for homes for sale in Indio. So the next thing we get to do is we get to decide on what we want to say in, you know, in the ad. So headline 1 right here corresponds to right here. Headline 2 corresponds to the second part of it up here. So in this particular case, we've said homes for sale in Indio. Looking to buy in Indio? And, you know, it's a good idea to ask a question or to, you know, create a call to action. So what I've done is I've created this, take a look at listings and call. So the person can go ahead and they can call right away. Sometimes people just want to find, you know, somebody to call, and they want the phone number and they just want to make that phone call. Other times they want to click, they want to, you know, look at all the ad or all the listings, and they want to decide, as we said, you know, all these different people find their properties before they call you. And so maybe they just want to do some searching on your website. So we can now, you know, decide on exactly what we want here. I've already added these extensions. So these extensions are going to show up down here below. Just like we saw up here, they're going to show up in these little spots down here. So there are actually other opportunities for somebody to click through to our website or click through to some kind of a, you know, a landing page. Now, a great idea is to have one of these extensions be HomeBot. And remember a couple weeks ago, we went through HomeBot and we showed you that you can have, you know, for $25 a month, you can have this landing page where somebody puts in their property address, and then they get all the different specs on that property, on, you know, the current value, on, you know, the amount of equity in that property, a lot of different specs. If you don't remember that, just go back to the HomeBot webinar a couple weeks ago. But so one of these extensions down here could be HomeBot. So, and you can make more extensions, right? You can add different pages to your website, specific pages to your website. You know, you could add a spot for testimonials. So again, that could show up down here as these different, you know, extended, they call them extensions. They're extended, you know, real estate really on your Google search page. So this is really, really key stuff. And so of course, it's, you know, on a Facebook ad, it's completely different thinking. It's completely different, you know, ways that we're going after it. With Google ads, we know people are coming to Google and they're searching for what we have to offer, which is homes for sale. Or they're searching, you know, I'm looking for a listing agent, or you know, whatever they're looking for. They're looking for something very, very specific. So we have to, and we don't have the ability to put any pictures here or anything like that. On Facebook, it's all about pictures and images. So the thinking behind Google ads is way, way different than Facebook. But just like Facebook ads, you've got to be consistent. This is not a flash in the pan kind of a thing. You need to be, you know, setting a budget for 6 months minimum and set it, forget it. And, well, actually, don't ever set it and forget it. Always, be refining, always, looking to see which keywords are ranking better, which ones are getting the click-throughs, changing up, landing pages and doing experiments with different kinds of landing pages. All of those are the kinds of things that you can start doing once you get into Google Ads. And so again, this is just a really brief overview of how it works, what we can do with Google Ads, and then I encourage all of you to, come onto my Calendly link, book a 60-minute training, and let's go through it specifically. And we can set up your account that way. So that's the bulk of my presentation today. And if anybody has any questions, put them in the chat. Besides that, Travis, do you have any takeaways today?
Not a lot. Just that it's if you're going to be spending some money, maybe doing both the Facebook and the Google, testing out what's working well in your market or for your message to the market. There are definitely two different ways of you're going to get two different types of leads.
For sure. And I do recommend doing both. I don't, and if you had to do one or the other, I'd probably pick Facebook. But I do believe that there is really, really good value in doing Google AdWords. And, this is what, OpCity and all these other companies, even Trulia and Zillow, they're all doing the same kind of stuff. They are bidding on search terms. They're doing the same stuff. So there's no reason why you guys can't do that too.
Yeah, and I think, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I just the graphic that you had in the beginning with the buyers searching for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
That is super key because that's where a lot of agents fall flat on lead gen. Is really generating the leads is actually not that hard. It's converting them to a close, which requires follow-up. And I mean, they're showing you right there that potentially from the time a lead contacts you on Google, it's going to be 10 weeks before you maybe get them out.
Right.
Looking at homes and different things like that. And I find that to be true. A lot of the online leads are 3-4 months out from actually getting into a car and looking at a house. So
right.
Keep that in mind. It's the gold is in the follow-up, not necessarily, the lead gen, because that is actually not that difficult.
That's a huge point, Travis. Follow-up is the biggest reason why agents lose deals.
Or lack of follow-up.
Lack of follow-up. Exactly.
Get an ISA, get a really good drip campaign. There's lots of different ways you can follow up if you're super busy for a little amount of cash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Set if at least set a low budget. You have to have some kind of budget. No business survives without doing marketing and without putting money back into the business.
Yep.
So don't expect for your business to thrive if you're not doing that. And so thank you very much for that, Travis. I appreciate that. Bill, any takeaways for you? Oh, I guess I have to allow him to talk first. Any takeaways from you, Bill?
Yeah, sorry about that. I do have a question. Are a lot of people that are doing the Google AdWords doing the broad searches? Are they doing like targeted neighborhood, like a certain community? Like, so if there's like a desirable school district or there's a desirable, family neighborhood that they're trying to get into, are you?
Yeah. That is kind of the secret and the little hidden, technique is to do Google AdWords. And it's a really good technique to keep your cost per click low. Because what happens is a lot of times you're right, people do know the school district that they want, or they know the neighborhood. They know the specific neighborhood. They know, I want to move to Newport Heights, or I want to move to Dover Shores, or I want to move to these different communities within the cities. And so a lot of times the big companies miss those communities. And that's where the little agent can come in and steal some real estate. So remember, those terms, the traffic on those terms is very low. However, the traffic is highly targeted. If somebody's typing in, homes in Newport Beach, Dover Shores, they are way interested in Dover Shores. So that's a really good idea, Bill. And the other thing that you do is the landing page for that keyword term has to have stuff about Dover Shores. And with our agent marketing system, we can create community pages just like the Indio page, but we can make a hyper small area and make sure that when they click through to our ad, it is so targeted to exactly what they were looking for. And that's a really good way to both increase your conversions and keep your cost per click low.
And I imagine, Kevin, that the price is the broader Newport Beach term is probably more expensive than the more narrow term. Would that be correct?
That is correct. Absolutely.
So
and think of this. That's a really good point, Bill. Think of this. Bidding on the term real estate. Well, wow, you're going to get a lot of traffic, right? But you're going to get traffic from people all over the world looking for real estate. So it doesn't make any sense. So targeting, doing a hyper-targeted will reduce the amount of traffic, but it will make it more targeted to what you have to sell.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times when agents try doing AdWords themselves, they fail because they don't do those specific things. And they also don't do special things like go in and make sure that you are, let me see if I can show you this. Make sure you're doing stuff like with keywords. You can also make sure that you specify negative keywords. So, we don't want people coming to our ad and clicking through if they're clicking on, or if they put in something like become a real estate agent, or we had house and homes. We talked about that broad match, that broad search. We don't want, people that are looking for bird houses or bounce houses, right? So you can really get specific in specifying negative keywords. So your ad will not show up under the broad match. So like I said, this is, this conversation can go really deep, and there's so much to it. It's absolutely a science. So that's why I just encourage you guys to, make an appointment with me. We can go through the stuff together because it gets real intricate quick.
I agree with that. And, one other takeaway is, the difference between Facebook and Google is Facebook, you cannot cater the ads very much anymore as far as the audience goes.
Yeah.
And you can only do basically a 15-mile radius or further. And you can pick a couple genres. I mean, they've really kind of stifled how narrow you can get with your audience. Whereas with Google, yeah, you can still market to, a specific city, or cater ads to, a specific community, and then do your long tail keyword search and, spend your money very, I say wisely. I don't know if that's quite the right word, but
in a targeted, in a targeted fashion.
Yeah, and your ad spend will go a lot further. And if someone is searching for a specific community, they're probably a little further along in their head as to where they want to live and have it narrowed down. So if you can be that person and have that specific landing page for the community, the chances of converting that lead will be a little higher.
For sure. That's why I really encourage all of you in your agent marketing systems to go in, utilize those community pages, create a community page for each of the communities in your area, because then your website is the resource. And, you start doing that kind of stuff, and then your website starts to come up in Google searches on its own, which we call organic. So organically, Google will start to rank your page higher. And so we've got a bunch of agents that they've been successful with that. I know Charles Barnes, if you search for like Lakeside, let's just do a little search here. Let's go Lakeside homes for sale. Fullerton. Whoops. Might be on the second page. But look who you're up against. You're up against the biggest of the big. So I forget, there is a certain term that he comes up under. But anyway, the organic route is very, very long. It's a slow route. But and that's why we can use, that's why we do use Google AdWords in order to get to the front of the page. So it's the only way to do it. But anyway, agents, thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate you guys taking out the time to learn more about real estate and about, you know, growing your business. So we really appreciate that, and we look forward to having you guys on the webinar next week. Have a great day.